You are going to need to secure your finances so you're comfortable in retirement. Let's talk about that right now. So the age at which people were expected to retire was 65 years old. This was accepted by many countries as the official retirement age. In the UK, this age has since been raised to 66. This age wasn't chosen at random. It was set during a time when life expectancies were much lower. This was also a time when doctors used to recommend cigarettes. So you can imagine why people died at a much younger age. And also the dynamics of work and retirement were totally different. But the question we should ask is, does the old way of thinking still make sense in our world today? Millennials and Gen Zs are facing unique challenges in saving for retirement, which is totally different from the experiences of their parents and their grandparents. One major issue is the dramatic shift in the job market and employment types. Younger generations are more likely to engage in short-term contract jobs or have frequent job changes, which often means less access to employer-sponsored retirement plans. This inconsistency can make it harder to consistently save for retirement. Can you see what I did there? Another challenge is the amount of debt that young people have, especially when it comes to student loans. Millennials and Gen Zs have much higher levels of educational debt, with payments stretching over years, sometimes decades, compared to the past generations who were lucky enough to maybe have had their education for free. Things like this severely limit the ability to save for retirement. Now, this debt reduces disposable income, delaying or minimizing the amount that can be saved and invested for the future. Additionally, the focus on repaying student loans often takes precedent over retirement saving, causing a significant delay in the compounding of retirement savings. Housing affordability is also a major issue. The cost of housing has increased dramatically, with millennials and Gen Z spending a large portion of their income on housing than the previous generations did. Don't get me started on that. House prices are still going up, but wages, well, they're not going anywhere. Healthcare and daily expenses consume a large portion of income, leaving less for long-term saving. Most young people only just make enough to get by, and what little is left over, they need to have some money to have some fun, right? Not thinking about money that they're going to be putting away and not being able to spend for 40 years. So I want you to listen now to this interview that I did with some youngsters. They're some good friends of mine, but most importantly, they're talking about what matters to them as young people and how they're able to look after their finances. Just check it out. It's a really, really good interview. Are you currently saving for retirement?
I myself am currently not saving, just due to affordability really. You know, once you weigh up what your outgoings are, etc., you look at it and go, can I really afford, you know, an extra £100 or £150 into, you know, into the savings? And at this point in time, I can't. My plan is to do it at a future date. Don't get me wrong, it's not something I'm completely going to rule out. Of course, you need it at a later date, but just, I think once I progress into a career and hopefully earn a bit more money, where it's at a point where I can afford it, or something happens in the housing market when the rent comes down, which I don't see happening. But yeah, just at this point in time, it's just really affordability as to why I currently don't.
I currently am putting into my pension, so I'm in a better position where I can put money away, but it's not long-term money.
Yeah.
So it's more short-term, but I am double thinking about taking it back out so I can rather put it into savings rather than an actual pension. I think at this current time, knowing how late the retirement age is looking, I'd rather put money into a house or other things that I need now rather than actually save away to retire, because that's a problem way later down the line.
Me and my girlfriend, we've recently started to private rent, which is currently £12.50 for a one-bedroom, no garden. You know, it's a nice flat, don't get it wrong, but it's nothing, it's not even a house. So that's £12.50. The council tax is sky high along with the bills. Our food shops have, you know, even in a year gone up around 30 or 40% we've seen, and we've had to use different supermarkets, etc. But, you know, the bills have just gone up and up, utility bills. So, you know, that extra £100, £150, because after I pay my bills at the end of the month, I'd say I'm left with, I don't know, maybe £300, £400. Sometimes could be less, sometimes could be more. And you know, I'm at an age where me and my girlfriend currently don't have kids. We want to go out and do things, date nights, etc. So that £150 is not something we can necessarily, well, I can't necessarily afford at the minute. It is something, that just isn't really affordable. I think whilst I'm at an age where I don't have responsibilities such as kids, we can live our life, we can go on holidays. You know, I think once you have a kid, then, you know, you can't, there's things that I still want to do in my life. I still want to have disposable income. I'm very friend orientated. I see my friends quite a lot. I've got a big friendship group. I've got a big family group. So I'm constantly, there's always something to do. And I'm at an age where I just think, you know, live my life. You know, we'll get a little bit more serious engagements, kids, etc. in a few years. But right now, the disposable income is something, you know, I work Monday to Friday to enjoy my weekend. So I don't necessarily work Monday to Friday to go, I can put a bit of savings away for 40 years' time. And, you know, when the retirement age will probably be bloody 80 or something, you know, when it actually gets to that age. So it's just something that's not really on my radar as of yet. Don't get me wrong, if my salary was to increase or our housing situation was to change, like for example, if I was to move back with my parents, which won't happen, but if that was to happen for whatever reason, then you would evaluate it again and go, okay, well, you know, I can afford it now, let's not be stupid, let's put it away.
Do you think that coming out of the pension system right now, in the short term, will be a beneficial thing for you to do?
I mean, I don't think personally I'm brave enough to come out of the pension. I think no matter what, everyone can have a pension, but I can see why people don't do it. Because the situation we've been put in, if I could, I would still live with my parents. But I am 25 years old now. I feel like it's time to move out no matter what situation. I'll be happy to put £10 a week away at this point. But it gets to the end of the month. I'm looking at my car. And I've got half a tank of petrol to last me a week and a half. That money's gonna go. You have to put things forward, unfortunately. Whereas if I was living at my mum and dad's, I would have been in London still, paying little rent, getting there, have my car paid off. But not all situations are like that and everyone's different. Like I've only just started renting the last couple months. And I'm so worried. I've got quite a good rate, so I'm paying under £1,000 for my rent on a 1-bedroom house. I have my dog, I have 2 cars, so my partner has the car as well. We have 1 car each. But I'm worried at the end of tenancy, they could easily skyrocket that. So if I come down to that situation, I will have to move back home to my partner's house.
My landlord tried upping mine from £1,250 to £1,400. But I knew I had a good relationship with him, so I kind of backed myself out and said, look, I'm not paying it. If you wanted to get rid of us, that's fine, you know, we want to stay here. But landlords, I know a couple of friends that mortgage rates have gone up, their rent have gone up. So yeah, that is very much a possibility. And they'll look at it and go, hang on a minute, the market rate has gone up significantly. You know, they might request it. So yeah, I had that happen to me, but luckily I was able to fight it.
I think it's crazy just listening to your experiences. It highlights that the bank of mum and dad could be very helpful to both of you if you were able to. But you know, as you said, you're both grown adults. You've flown the nest. You want to live your lives, but obviously the cost of living is so high that something had to give. You can't, you can't not pay your rent. You want to be able to enjoy. There's no point working if you can't go out and enjoy life. So pension arguably was probably the easiest thing to just let go of.
No, 100%. When I used to live with my parents and you know my bills are minimal, I've paid a pension almost all my life since I've started working. I've started working since about 16, 17. It only isn't until I started private renting that I actually opted out of it, because I just looked and thought, I can't afford to pay that, it's ridiculous.
So many people also lack financial literacy skills, making it challenging to effectively save for retirement. Millennials and Gen Z are coming of age in a time of economic uncertainty and volatility, including significant events like the financial crisis. We had the COVID pandemic and obviously wars that are going on. These are going to seriously impact people's finances and their financial future. And let's not forget about inflation and concerns about the future. All of these things add to the anxiety about how people are going to be able to retire and save enough for retirement. So if you're a millennial and a Gen Zer, you're gonna need to get smart. You're gonna need to start saving as early as possible. I know it's gonna hurt, but you need to learn. There's gonna have to be a way of you putting away even a little bit. You've got to start early, or you are going to leave yourself very vulnerable in later years. You also need to explore having a diverse portfolio of investments to build a retirement fund. But you're going to need to think of other ways of being able to save enough money to look after yourself in old age. The job market has evolved. with less emphasis on long-term employment, with pensions. It's all about the short-term contracts now, freelancing, offering flexibility. But with that flexibility, it often lacks the traditional retirement saving tools such as employer-sponsored pension plans with matching contributions. The uncertainty and fluctuating nature of modern career paths can make it challenging to consistently save for retirement.
She said to my parents today, I wish I could just take it out now and just have the money. At the moment, I need the money more now.
Yeah.
We're in a cost of living crisis.
Yeah.
We need the money now. Are we going to even get to the point where we need our pensions? And we would have taken it out years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know,
I probably wouldn't have opened another one, so I would have...
Can you remember how much it was, your contributions were monthly?
It was 10% of whatever I was earning at the time.
Oh wow, that's quite...
was the minimum.
So that's quite a sizable amount of your money. So that was Mrs. Morrison, who... I love speaking to her, especially about things like when I do my videos, I always like to get other people's opinions on things because you really get to hear how other people think. Now, pensions are very, very important, vitally important, but I would be lying if I said that nearly every single young person that I have spoken to regarding finances, especially when it comes to pensions, pretty much all of them have all said, if I can opt out of it, I will opt out of it, because 10% or however much it is, it's such a big deduction from their money that they need now, that they just don't have the ability to be able to budget themselves because they're already budgeted out. It's debt, or it's bills, it's rent, it's car payments, food, gas, electricity, all the things that you need just to live, that losing potentially 10% of your wages to a pension that you're not going to be able to get anywhere near for the next 30 odd years, it's almost too much to bear. And so I can totally understand why many of the young people today now are just interested in just pulling out and just not even contributing. But long term, they're shooting themselves in the foot, because you need to have a safety net so that when you are older, you have your own money to be able to look after you, because as we all know, the governments are not out to look after us. They're not going to. So finding a balance between managing your money now and planning for a secure retirement, it's going to require skill. Statistics show that Gen Z's begun saving for retirement earlier than millennials did. On average, Gen Z started saving at 19, whereas millennials began at 25, showcasing a growth of awareness of the need for early financial planning. A survey indicated that over 60% of millennials fell behind in their retirement savings. And although Gen Zs are more proactive about saving, they also expressed a need for better financial education. With forecasts predicting the depletion of social security funds, millennials cannot rely on this as a significant source of retirement income, unlike previous generations. Increased healthcare costs and the desire for a more active and expensive lifestyle in retirement requires substantial savings. Given these challenges, it is vital for millennials to start planning and saving for retirement as early as possible. Early planning allows for compound interest to work in your favour. It will help develop good financial habits and provide a buffer for economic uncertainties. Furthermore, it enables millennials to explore various investment avenues, adjusting their risk tolerance levels over time, and ensure sufficient savings to support their retirement lifestyle, minimising reliance on social security or employment-provided plans. Now, if you like what you see, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.
Subscribe to the channel.
And subscribe to the channel. Come on and subscribe to the channel. You need to go backwards. Go back. Go further back. Go further back. And subscribe to the channel. Yes. This is my family who have patiently waited for me to finish my recording. Kids, be careful. Right. That was it. That's a wrap.